evening, everyone, and thanks for watching SFU Volleyball on Clan TV. I am Tamara Nip. After spending last weekend on the road, Simon Fraser returns to the West Gym to begin a 4-game homestand. Tonight, the team welcomes Alaska Anchorage Seawolves to Burnaby Mountain. We'll have more on the visitors in a moment, but first, here's a quick recap of the Clan's away games last week. A week ago, SFU was in Ellensburg, Washington to face Central Washington. The Clan dropped the first two sets, 25-19 and 25-17, before bouncing back to take the third set, 25-18. The team tried to force a fifth set but came up short, losing the fourth set, 25-18. 2 nights later, the Clan came out ready to play, and the team defeated Northwest Nazarene in straight sets, 25-14, 25-7, and 25-14. Junior Kirsten Pinkney had 11 kills, while Betsy DeBeer picked up 10 kills to go along with her 5 blocks and 12 digs. Sophomore Julia Tays recorded 37 assists and had 4 aces and 12 digs. With the split, SFU is 5-5 overall this season and 2-2 in GNAC action. The team will face a tough test tonight against Alaska Anchorage, led by head coach Chris Green. The Seawolves are 10-2 so far in 2018, and they have a 3-1 conference record. UAA played 3 games last week and picked up 3 victories. They handed the Alaska Nanooks a 3-1 loss before beating Rocky Mountain College in 5 sets in a non-conference game, followed by a straight sets win against Montana State Billing on the road. Last season, SFU earned a split against Alaska Anchorage, falling in 5 sets in Anchorage, picking up a huge straight sets win here in the West Gym. That's it for us on the pregame show. We'll have the anthems and player introductions for you right now, so stay with us. You're watching SFU Volleyball on Clan TV.
Much smaller crowd.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simon Fraser University for tonight's Fraser University Choir. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we introduce you to the prize and who's involved in the American National Anthem. Representing Genesee. Number 13, Alan Floyd. Number 14, and number 18, Vanessa Boyer. And coach of this equals first grade with SFU head coach Jim Revelo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's second line for goal, Simon Fraser.
Welcome back to SFU Volleyball on Clan TV. Today's game is live streamed on YouTube, and you can watch it at athletics.sfu.ca/VB Live. For those of you tuning in, SFU's own Clissa Beltran just sang the national anthem, and starting tonight for Alaska Anchorage is number 5, Taylor Noga, number 9, Chrysalyn Johnson, number 13, Ellen Floyd, number 14, Vera Pluhazava, number 15, Tara Melton, number 16, Eve Stevens, and number 18, Vanessa Boyer. Starting for your Simon Fraser clan tonight is number 0, Jamie Bratsberg, number 2, Kirsten Pinkney, number 3, Tamara Clark, number 6, Betsy DeBeer, number 14, Nicole Chevrier, number 16, Julia Tays, and number 21, Tessa May. So for those of you just tuning in, I mentioned earlier tonight that Simon Fraser right now is 5-5 overall this season, 2-2 in conference action, whereas Alaska Anchorage Seawolves, they're now 10-2 so far in 2018, and within GNAC, they are at a 3-1 conference record. So to start off the match, Alaska Anchorage will be serving. That's a good pass from Betsy DeBeer outside to Kirsten Pinkney, and that's a great kill from Kirsten Pinkney to start off the match. Substitutions for Simon Fraser. Katarina Dolge is coming in to serve for Kirsten Pinkney. Simon Fraser leading 1-0. Slightly out of system, number 16 with the roll shot. Great up from Julia Tays. Outside to Tamara Clark. Great dig from Alaska Anchorage on to the right side. And Simon Fraser, I think, is going to send a free ball over. Good pass from Alaska Anchorage to the right side. And that's a kill for number 16, Eve Stevens. Score is tied up at 1-1. Simon Fraser will be out of system, a little tight, and Betsy DeBeer still getting a swing on that ball. Tooling Alaska Anchorage block there. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage. I think that was number 8, or maybe it's number 3. I can't actually see the number from where I am. Alaska Anchorage called on a lift. I think Sutter was also back row there, so if it wasn't a lift, she would have been called on a back row attack. That's good pass. Step around, great block touch, good cover from Betsy DeBeer to Tamara Clark, and that's blocked. I think that's from number 9, Crystalline Johnson. Simon Fraser still leading 3-2. And sorry, it was number 2, Talia Linnae. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, who came in. And that's a perfect roll shot from Betsy DeBeer. There's the replay. Perfect roll shot. No one from Alaska Anchorage even tried to kind of hit the floor for that move. Going behind to number 16 again. That's a smart play from Tessa May. As you can see there wasn't that much that she could have done. Normally, most middles would have set that up to get 3 contacts back, but Tessa May, realizing that everyone's covering in nice and tight for Alaska Anchorage, trying to give the ball back to them nice and deep. And behind to Eve Stevens again. Great up from Jamie Bratsburg. Tessa May, I would call that a bit of a paintbrush kill, but that's a kill nonetheless for Tessa May. Simon Fraser leading 6-2. That's a good choice from Julia Tays. You don't see too many setters that are right-handed pulling off that move. Typically, it's fairly easy to read if you're a right-handed setter, but given the right opportunity there, Julia Tays taking full advantage and trying to catch Alaska Anchorage by surprise. Great dig from Tamara Clark. And back to the right side, over dig from Simon Fraser. Back to the right side, great dig from Jamie Bratsburg. And a little low for Tessa May. She had no choice but to tip there. Alaska sending a free ball. And behind Tessa May, great dig from Alaska Anchorage. Eve Stevens again, great dig from Tamara Clark. Tessa May with the kill in the middle. That's a fantastic rally from Simon Fraser and Alaska Anchorage. Tessa May just able to get a kill there. Crystalline Johnson did not go up and block. She instead tried to just get some tips. So at least she was protecting her face, but that's a very smart play from Julia Tays. Simon Fraser leading 8-3 in the first set. And first misserve of the night, substitution for Simon Fraser, Kirsten Pinkney coming in for Katerina Dolge. That's a good pass from Alaska Anchorage, a little tight. And point for Alaska Anchorage. I think if some of you saw that, it looked like she was on the net, but I believe she was on the net outside of the antenna, so it's all good. Here's the replay. Yeah, as you can see, she runs into the net outside of the antenna, so all good. Another misserve from Alaska Anchorage, this time from Crystalline Johnson. Serving for Simon Fraser is Tessa May, as Simon Fraser leads 10-4. And referee calling the ball down there, so point for Simon Fraser. Simon Fraser off to an early lead as head coach of Alaska Anchorage will be calling his first timeout of the match. Simon Fraser is playing very well. Alaska Anchorage, they just seem to be a little flat in terms of energy. So there's some good rallies going on as we've seen, but Simon Fraser seems to be winning them, so that can be a huge buzzkill for Alaska Anchorage. But again, their defense is pretty good right now. They just had those 2 missed serves, which at this point in the game can affect them quite a lot. In theory, every point is a 2-point swing. So like, for example, if it was 10-10 and then Alaska Anchorage, say they could have won a point to make it 11-10 for them, but instead of being up by 1 point, they'll have like say they missed their serve into the net, then Simon Fraser would be up 11-10. So that's a 2-point difference from being up 1 to now being down 1. So to have 2 missed serves into the net in a row, not a great start to try and get some momentum going again, but it's still really early in the first set. Alaska Anchorage has some fairly seasoned players out on the floor, so I'm thinking they'll be able to turn it around, most likely relying on their outside hitter, Crystalyn Johnson, and their middle blocker, Vanessa Boyer. And outside to Vanessa Boyer with a paintbrush kill. Those ones will almost always work. Oh, and my mistake there. Number 18, Vanessa Boyer for Alaska Anchorage is playing on the outside. On the roster, she's listed as middle blocker, outside hitter, and a right side, so I wasn't too sure. Great pass from Crystalyn Johnson. Good save from Vanessa Boyer. It was a little tight, but that's a good pickup from Julia Tays. And a setter dump, or a setter attack from number 13, Ellen Floyd. So as I mentioned earlier, we saw that from Julia Tays. Julia Tays is right-handed, whereas for Alaska Anchorage, she did go up on that ball with her left hand, so she doesn't actually have to turn as much. It's a lot harder to read from a defensive perspective compared to a right-handed setter having to turn their full body around to hit the ball in the direction of the court. So it's a lot easier if you're left-handed, but I think some setters might be right-handed and just train their left hand to be able to do that. It's possible after lots of practice, and there's the replay from Kirsten Pinkney's great corner shot. That spot seems to be wide open for Alaska Anchorage defense. And just a little long serve from Katerina Dolge, but Simon Fraser is still leading 13-7. And that's a great serve from number 18, Vanessa Boyer. I was a setter, so I can never really relate to passing, but it looked like her platform was there. Probably just took her eye off the ball a little too soon. They seem to be serving Jamie Bratsberg, so I think it just takes getting used to, committing to the ball on the passing side of things, and then she'll find her groove again. And that's a great kill from Betsy DeBeer using the block. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage, number 2, Talia Lene is coming in for Vanessa Boyer for the back row. And referee calling setter on a double. That is almost a great save from number 13, Ellen Floyd. Alaska Anchorage just unable to put the ball over the net, but it was a tough play to make in the first place. That's a nice serve from Jamie Bratsberg. And that is a great kill from number 16, Eve Stevens. She is a freshman this year. She seems to be getting quite a bit of volume so far. Here's the replay. I'm just trying to look at their season statistics so far. Yeah, she looks to be one of the top hitters. When I'm looking at Alaska Anchorage's stats from the beginning of the season so far, leading in total attempts is Crystalline Johnson, followed by number 16, Eve Stevens. She is almost hitting the highest hitting percentage on her team. Right now it's number 15, Tara Melton, who's hitting a .345. Eve Stevens just following by hitting a .334, which is also very good for a right side hitter. So Simon Fraser leading 16-10. That's a good pass from Betsy DeBeer. Tessa May, that's a great pickup, almost pickup from the setter, number 13, Ellen Floyd. It's happened a few times now. Oh, here's the replay. As you can see, it's happened a few times where it looks like Julia Tays and Tessa May just aren't quite connecting, whether that's maybe spacing from Tessa May's side of things, or Tessa May is a very tall human being, so potentially Julia Tays could just set her a little bit higher so she has the ability to have a full extension on the ball to swing. So score is now 18-10 for Simon Fraser. And that's a dump from Alaska Anchorage. She was in the back row, but I don't think her point of contact was above the height of the net, so it was all good. A little bit of a scramble. Looks like things will be under control outside to Crystalline Johnson. That's a great touch from Jamie Bratsberg, and that's a great kill from Betsy DeBeer. Simon Fraser is playing some really good defense. They're not letting too much hit the floor, anything that they're kind of on the fence about. Here is the replay. So this dig coming up from Jamie Bratsberg is huge for Simon Fraser. And Betsy DeBeer, it's an inside set, and as you can tell, she just goes in between the two blockers. Hard ball to defend, but that's Chris Green taking his second and final timeout of the first set as Simon Fraser leads 20-10. So again, I think Simon Fraser is playing very well. Alaska Anchorage, I think they're doing okay, but still lots of room for improvement. They've just been on the losing end of some really tough rallies, and those can be very demoralizing. So right now, I think they're really trying to feed number 16, Eve Stevens. As I was saying earlier, it seems like she has one of the highest hitting percentages on her team. So really for Alaska Anchorage to have outside hitters like Crystalline Johnson and Vanessa Boyer, and to have Eve Stevens coming in and being such a threat on the right. We did see her swing in the middle as well on one of the plays. So she is able to swing pretty much anywhere that would be like first or second tempo. Simon Fraser will just need to shut that down, but I think for Alaska Anchorage to come back into this match, they need to find a way to put the ball away. Simon Fraser is playing lights out defense right now, but whether that's getting a few more blocks on the Simon Fraser hitters, I think right now the Simon Fraser hitters are probably pretty high in terms of efficiency. I don't have live statistics on me. I'll have that for you after or in between the two sets, but I think all the hitters for Simon Fraser are hitting pretty good. So Alaska Anchorage will need to apply a little bit more pressure to them, whether that's serving a little bit harder, potentially having a stronger block, something just to throw off Simon Fraser a little bit, because they're running a really good offense right now. And coming in for Eve Stevens to serve, I think that was number 3. And that's a huge block from Crystalline Johnson. As I was saying just a point ago, that Alaska Anchorage will need to shut down some of the Simon Fraser hitters, because right now all of them are hitting pretty well. So I think in this situation, when Julia Tays has Tessa May and she's in the front row, a lot of the times they'll try and go to Tessa May on the step around, because that seems to be her favorite shot. And yeah, not quite over the net from Crystalline Johnson. Alaska Anchorage called on 4 contacts as Simon Fraser leads 21-12 in the first set. And substitution for Simon Fraser, Kirsten Pinkney coming in for Katarina Dolge. And outside, Chrislyn Johnson. Great swing from Chrislyn Johnson. It's a fast outside set, so it is difficult for Simon Fraser's right side blockers to get outside all the way and take some space away. But Chrislyn Johnson swings very well. She can pretty much hit anywhere, so it's very hard to read from a defensive perspective. Good pass from Betsy DeBeer. And that's a great swing from Kirsten Pinkney as Simon Fraser takes the lead 22-13. Substitution for Simon Fraser, Bianca Tay is coming in to serve for Tessa May. Outside to Vanessa Boyer and out of bounds. You can tell Vanessa Boyer's a little early. Earlier in the set, we saw her have that kind of, I call it a paintbrush kill, where she barely made contact with it. So I think, if I can remember correctly, I think she was a middle last year and potentially the year before. So I think she might just not be used to a higher, slightly slower offense when you're on the left side. So for set point here, Simon Fraser is up 24-13. And that's a fantastic serve from Bianca Tay, just dropping inside the court on the back line. So Simon Fraser taking the first set 25-13. We're going to take a short break right now, and we'll be back with you in a few moments. You're watching SFU Volleyball on Clan TV.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves. Our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Welcome back to SFU Volleyball on Clan TV. For those of you just tuning in, Simon Fraser took that first set 25-13. They just took an early lead pretty soon in the match, and Alaska just couldn't really catch up. Unfortunately, I wasn't given any of the statistics from the first set, but I'd imagine Simon Fraser, all their hitters I think right now are hitting very well. They're not making too many errors. But Alaska Anchorage, they've just been on the losing end of some really long rallies, and I've alluded to it previously, but it can be quite demoralizing. So I know they're just trying to bounce back, finding a way to shut down some of the hitters for Simon Fraser. But Simon Fraser, again, running a very good offense. So starting for SFU, looks like very similar. Setting Julia Tays, liberos Jamie Bratsberg, left sides Kristen Pinkney and Betsy DeBeer. In the middle, Tessa May and Nicole Chevrier, and then on the right side, Tamara Clark. For Alaska Anchorage, it's looking pretty similar as well. They've left number 5, Taylor Noga, as libero. Chrislyn Johnson and Vanessa Boyer out there. Eve Stevens is out there. And number 13, Ellen Floyd. Number 14, Vera Pluhazava. And number 15, Tara Melton. So yeah, all the same players out for both squads. So Simon Fraser serving to start off the second set, led by Julia Tays. That's a good pass from Chrislyn Johnson. Great up from Jamie Bratsberg. Great dig from Taylor Noga outside to Eve Stevens. And that's a great kill again from Eve Stevens. Or Eve Stevens. Serving for Alaska Anchorage is number 18, Vanessa Boyer, as they are up 1-0 in the second set. Great pass from Jamie Bratsberg outside to Kirsten Pinkney. Blocked. No one quite in tight enough to cover there. And that's a great serve from Vanessa Boyer. Good pass from Kirsten Pinkney to Tamara Clark, and that's blocked. So Alaska Anchorage is up now 4-0 in the first set. They're going to want to side out pretty quickly here. That's a good pass from Betsy DeBeer. And that's another block for Alaska Anchorage. I think that's Eve Stevens had most of that block. So if you notice, Simon Fraser, they're switching up the way they are serve receiving. So before, Kirsten Pinkney was passing on the left side. Now she's going to be passing on the right. Sometimes it just gives everyone a different, or gives servers a different arrangement to look at. Sometimes, I think in this case, they were targeting front row hitter Kirsten Pinkney. Just moving her around, it forces Alaska Anchorage server to think about it, and you never know what can happen. You saw there on that last one, Julia Tays was trying to spread out her offense, just taking things into her own hands. And referee calling Julia Tays on the lift. It was a tight ball. She's a back row setter. There's not much more she could have done. Score is 6-1 for Alaska Anchorage. To Tamara Clark. That was a great save from Chrislyn Johnson. A little bit of a scramble going on. And a great kill from Betsy DeBeer using the block out there. So Simon Fraser trailing by 4. The score is 6-2 for Alaska Anchorage. Outside to Chrislyn Johnson. That's out of bounds. Here's the replay. Yeah, just wasn't able to get on top of the ball quite enough for that one. Jamie Bratsberg serving for Simon Fraser. Back to Eve Stevens. That's a great block from Betsy DeBeer and Tessa May. Here's the replay. Yeah, great block from Betsy DeBeer. And that's a little long. Alaska leading 7-4 as number 3, Angeline Vreeland coming in for number 16, Eve Stevens. That's a great serve. Good pass from Betsy DeBeer to Tessa May. Again, I think that's just a little too low for Tessa, but at least she's able to make a continue out of it. Simon Fraser will be, that's a bold choice on Betsy DeBeer to swing at that ball. Simon Fraser needs to cover her in those situations. It's a tight set. The ball's coming from behind Betsy DeBeer's head, so it's actually very hard when the ball's coming from behind you to keep an eye on the blockers and where they might be. She doesn't really have much choice there but to try and take a swing and hope her teammates cover her. On that one, unfortunately, I think Simon Fraser's, they were covering a little bit too tight. The ball actually went past some of the coverage players. So Alaska leading now 9-4 as Gina Schmidt takes her first timeout of the second set. A little bit of a role reversal here. In the first set, Simon Fraser got out to an early lead, and now it just seems to be flipping a little bit, but Alaska Anchorage is doing exactly what I had highlighted earlier. They're doing a really good job of blocking Simon Fraser's hitters and shutting them down, and ultimately just challenging them a little bit more on the serve receive. So if you notice, Alaska Anchorage, a lot of their servers stand somewhere different. So some of them have really deep serves, like they're standing basically at the basketball end line. Some of them are jump serving, some of them are standing right at the volleyball end line. Whereas Simon Fraser, most of them, I think, just have a jump float serve, which is also hard to receive. But with Alaska Anchorage having a lot of variety on their serving, it's actually very hard for passers to get into a certain rhythm or a certain groove. So I think on serve receive, they're starting to question themselves a little bit, but I think they just need to communicate a little bit more on their first contact and then support each other when one of them is hitting to try and get a little bit more recycled coverage balls. Because right now, anytime someone's hitting into Alaska Anchorage's block, which is big, it's just going straight down to the floor and no one's really covering the ball. So that's a great timeout call from Gina Schmidt. Usually after a timeout, you want to keep your serve in the court. So a bad timing on the missed serve there, but still very early on. Outside to Chrislyn Johnson. A little wide to Tessa May. The tip over. And referee will be calling Chrislyn Johnson on the net. So I don't know if we can get a replay on that one. Alaska Anchorage is losing it a bit, if you see there. Yeah, so I think it was Chrislyn Johnson. The ball was definitely above the height of the net, so couldn't have really been the ball, and it wasn't Tessa May, so I think that's the right call from the referee there. Although it would have been a very smart play from Chrislyn Johnson. And yeah, there she goes, returning the play call with a huge kill for Alaska Anchorage. Vanessa Boyer coming back in for the front row as Chrislyn Johnson goes back to serve, 10-6 for Alaska. And that's a great serve from Chrislyn Johnson. That's a good pass from Katarina Dolge. A little tight and just out of bounds. Substitution for Simon Fraser. Bianca Tay is coming in the back row for Tamara Clark. Tamara Clark, if you notice on the roster, she's actually listed as a setter. Yep. But just recently, she's been doing very well as a hitter on the right side. However, just in terms of serve receive, typically setters don't really get serve receive reps. So I think just having Bianca Tay come in, be another passing option, it's a good move, a good alternative for Simon Fraser. And as you saw there, great kill from Tessa May on the step around. Simon Fraser still trailing. Alaska is up 12-7. That's a good pass from Kristlyn Johnson. And there's a little bit of controversy going on the court. Linesman calling Vanessa Boyle's swing a little long, but Alaska is arguing that it was in. We don't get to see where the ball landed on the replay, but Alaska Anchorage is getting a yellow card, which I think if you tune in frequently to Simon Fraser matches, this happened earlier in the match or earlier in their season. Essentially, a yellow card is just a warning. It doesn't really mean anyone's close to getting kicked out of the match. Yeah, it's really just more of a warning. So Simon Fraser still trailing by 4, scores 12-8 for Alaska Anchorage in the second set. That's a great pass, step around, and it looked like, I think Kirsten Pinckney was there. I just don't think her hands were over the net quick enough to get the full block, so she just had a block touch. Simon Fraser unable to play around it. Outside to Kirsten Pinckney, and that's blocked again. Here's the replay. Yeah, I think that was mostly number 13, Ellen Floyd. That's a good pass from Jamie Bratsburg to Tessa May on the step around, blocked. And again, no one is able to cover the ball for Simon Fraser as they're now trailing by 7 points. Alaska's leading 15-8. I think at this point in the game, I think Simon Fraser needs to stay aggressive and they should definitely keep swinging, but I think the non-hitters need to do a better job of covering each other. Good pass from Bianca Tay, and that's a great up from number 3. Outside to Vanessa Floyd, and that's a touch out of bounds. So kill for Vanessa Boyer. And Gina Schmidt taking her second and final timeout of the second set as Simon Fraser is now trailing 16-8. So again, we're basically seeing a complete role reversal from the first set. So in the first set, Simon Fraser was off to an early lead, and it looked like Alaska Anchorage just could not get momentum. And now we're seeing the same thing with Simon Fraser. I think the key to covering a ball is you just need to expect it. You need to be in nice and tight to cover your hitters, and you just need to be watching the ball hit the blocker's hands, and that will give you a clue as to where the ball will be redirected to. And then you just gotta, Gina would use the word pull the trigger and then make a move to the ball just to get it up. Right now, a lot of people in Simon Fraser, when their hitter's hitting, I think they're still in motion. They're a little late to get into cover, and so they're still moving at the point of contact. But at that point, they should be stopped and balanced and ready to react to wherever the ball's going to go off the block. So I'm sure Gina Schmidt is trying to tell everyone to cover, but if it's a second thought to cover the ball, you probably won't get it. You have to think about it right away. And Simon Fraser hitters are swinging nice and hard. They're staying aggressive, but Alaska Anchorage has some big blockers out there. So either they need to take some pace off if they know they're going to swing into the block, or again, the block coverage just needs to be a little bit stronger for Simon Fraser. And that's great net play from Tessa May, gaining a little bit of momentum. Here is a replay. And yeah, good choice from Tessa May. Good, a little bit scrambly from Simon Fraser. Step around, great dig from Bianca Tay. Good block coverage. A little tight. Kirsten Pinckney able to save the ball. And Alaska Anchorage unable to control the ball. So point for Simon Fraser. They're gaining a little bit of momentum back. They're trailing by 6. Alaska's leading 16-10 in the second set. There's still lots of time left in the set here for Simon Fraser to make a comeback. But I would also expect Alaska Anchorage to push a little bit harder here to side out and get the point back. Good swing from setter Julia Tays. Vanessa, good touch from Kirsten Pinckney. So scrambly, but Simon Fraser able to give the ball back. Great block coverage from number 3. And a tip roll shot over. Simon Fraser just looking a little scrambly, but it's working. And Alaska being called on the net. That would be number 14, Vera Pluhazava. Sorry, I have a pronunciation guide, but I think it's very hard to pronounce. So Simon Fraser trailing by 5, scores 16-11 for Alaska Anchorage. And that was a great serve from Tessa May. I would imagine Chris Green will be calling a timeout. Oh yeah, there's the replay. As you can see, that serve is actually very strategic. So that's typically where a front row left side would stand. So in this case, it was Vanessa Boyer. Normally front row left sides, especially because I think Vanessa Boyer was a middle blocker previously, so again, she's not getting as many serve receive reps, so aiming to take out that front row left side blocker or having to force a back row player to step up and try and make that pass. Very strategic for Tessa May. So Chris Green taking his first time out of the second set, as Simon Fraser just has gone on a 4-point run to catch up just a little bit, as Simon Fraser's still down by 4. Alaska's leading 16-12 in the first set, but Simon Fraser just having gone on a 4-point run when it's still kind of in the middle of the set. Chris Green will need to want to stop this momentum that they're gaining, and they'll want to side out right away. I would imagine, just based on their players, I think they're going to try and run number 18, Vanessa Boyer, to try and side out for this point. Yeah, outside to Vanessa Boyer. Great dig from Tessa May. Outside to Kirsten Pinckney. Great swing from Kirsten Pinckney. She just aims for nice high hands. And when it's hitting blockers like fingertips, there's not much they can really do to control where the ball goes. So here's the replay. Yeah, I don't know if you can really, it was just at the top end of your screen there, but it's a very smart play. There's no way you can defend that ball. And yeah, point for Simon Fraser. So they're continuing their run. They've now gone on a 6-point streak to catch up a little bit. They're only down by 2, 16-14 for Alaska in the second set. Alaska's been trying to go to outside Vanessa Boyer, but her timing seems to be a little bit off. I don't know if that's a wide set or a too high or what it is, but sometimes it just doesn't seem to connect there. And that's a great swing from number 14, Vera Pluhazava. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage. Eve Stevens is back in the match, so that's some firepower that Alaska Anchorage will be needing. In the first set, Eve Stevens was one of the main hitters for Alaska Anchorage, probably the highest efficiency hitting player in the first set. So I'm sure they'll love to have her back in the front row right now. Outside to Kirsten Pinckney. That's a good pickup from Taylor Noga. Outside to Vanessa Boyer. Good dig from Betsy DeBeer. Good dig from Chrislyn Johnson. Good dig from Jamie Bratsburg. That's a good read from Alaska Anchorage defenders, wing diggers there, number 13 and Chrislyn Johnson. Unfortunately, just not enough height to get the ball up in the air. So substitution for Simon Fraser. Number 3, Tamara Clark coming back in for front row right side for Bianca Tay. As Simon Fraser still trailing by 2, 17-15 for Alaska in the first set. That's a great dig. Well, almost a great dig from Betsy DeBeer. It was nice and high. She just wasn't able to control it and keep it in the court. But Eve Stevens has a very high point of contact. So I think a lot of times she's hitting over the block, which makes it very hard to defend. So at least Betsy got a touch on that one. So So point for Alaska Anchorage. They're gaining some momentum again, 19-15. Simon Fraser is all out of timeouts right now. Chris Green still has one for the set. A little tight. Good fix from Julia Tays, and they're going to be calling her on a lift. I thought she might have been on the net. That's a tough call. There's not much she can do at that point. She is back row now. Substitution for Simon Fraser. Number 17, Lauren Friedman, coming in for number 3, Tamara Clark. For those of you watching that are a little bit more familiar with the Canadian rules, in the NCAA, you can have 3 players to 1 rotational spot. So as you can see now, it'll be Lauren Friedman, Tamara Clark, and Bianca Tay that were all in that kind of area, or in that player rotation. So it is allowed for those Canadian watchers that might be feeling a little confused seeing that substitution. But yeah, Alaska Anchorage getting a great kill there. They're now leading by 6 again, 21-15. A great pass from Nicole Chevrier, and blocked in the middle. Gina Schmidt, like I said, she's out of timeouts. I think she needs to slow the game down a little bit. Substituting number 10, Farnaz Johal, in for Nicole Chevrier in the middle. A little tight again. Good save from Julia Tays, and that's a great run for Kirsten Pinkney. Substitution for Simon Fraser, Katarina Dolge serving for Kirsten Pinkney, and substitution for Alaska Anchorage, number 2, Talia Lene, coming in for Vanessa Boyer. Great pass from Taylor Noga. Eve Stevens with a huge kill in the middle. She has such a fast arm swing. I don't know if we'll see a replay, but I don't know if you can see it on if you can tell through video, but she has such a fast arm and so much snap to that ball. It's very hard to defend. And just a service error into the net, giving Simon Fraser a bit of a chance to catch up here. Score is 23-17 for Alaska Anchorage in the second set. Great dig from Taylor Noga. A setter dump right to Julia Tays. To Betsy DeBeer. Great dig. To the right, Eve Stevens. Good tip. Oh, a little tight. Not much Julia could do there. Chrislyn Johnson with a kill down the line. That's a great swing from Chrislyn Johnson. Essentially, a lot of the times blockers or teams will give up that line shot, and that's why they'll have a digger there. But to have someone swing down the line that sharp, it's very hard to defend. And substitution for Simon Fraser, number 3, Tamara Clark, is back in the match for number 17, Lauren Friedman. And Tessa May, great dig for number 3, outside to Chrislyn Johnson with a tip over. And just a wide attack error for Katarina Dolge to end the second set. So Alaska Anchorage taking the second set 25-17. Sets are all tied up at 1-1. We're just taking a 5-minute break. So come back. Thanks for watching SFU Volleyball on Plan TV.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Hello, I'm Tegan McKay, and we are the freshmen of the SFU women's soccer team. Today we will be playing the game Guess That Name. Here we go!
Go.
Jenna. Good. Sam. Michaela. Kate. Praying. Come on, not coach, but Anna. Yeah. Oh, okay. Lobo, Jenna Lobo.
Allison, Christina.
Please on the wing.
Janice. Michaela.
Come on.
Go. Kate, Sam.
No,
Carly.
please holding right now because
It's Hollis. Me. Emma.
Carly. Lobo?
Yeah. Coach. Yeah. Twins. Yeah.
Okay. Christina and Allison.
Sam. Yeah.
Wow. Like gingerish hair.
Claire.
She's a ginger. Like she's ginger.
Looks like there's no competition. Team 2 won. Woo! Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team!
Let's go.
Welcome back to SFU Volleyball on Plan TV. In case you guys are just tuning in, as you can see on the screen there, Simon Fraser took the first set by a quite sizable lead, 25-13, only for Alaska Anchorage to come back and take the second set, 25-17. If you have been watching the whole match, it looks like a kind of a role reversal happened. So I don't know if there's one lucky side, but Simon Fraser dominated the first set, and then Alaska Anchorage came in and dominated the second set. So I think this third match is all about which team can make the most adjustments to the other team and who can do it the fastest. So I'm looking at there. It looks like there is a slight starting lineup change for Simon Fraser. Number 10, Farnaz Johal is in. She'll be starting for Nicole Chevrier. but I think Alaska Anchorage is the same. Simon Fraser being called on a double. A good self-cover from Betsy DeBeer and a good block from Farnaz. That's a great pickup from Crystalline Johnson, though. And a huge block from number 14. So Alaska Anchorage off to an early lead, 2-0. Good pass from Betsy DeBeer, back to her outside. A little tight and just wide from Farnaz Johal. Great pass from Betsy DeBeer. And Simon Fraser catching a little bit of a lucky break. Score is 3-1 for Simon Fraser. I'm sorry, 3-1 for Alaska Anchorage. And just long. Chris Green looking for some touches there. Let's see the replay. I don't think there were any touches, maybe a little bit, but not enough for the referees to see that. And outside to Eve Stevens, and that trickled over the net. Somehow, Simon Fraser won that rally. Score is tied up at 3-3. Good block touch from Simon Fraser. Back to Tamara Clark. Great touch, and that'll be a chase down. Alaska Anchorage sending a free ball. Oh, that was some miscommunication from Simon Fraser. Typically when your team gets a free ball, there's so much opportunity there. Alaska Anchorage, half their team was still kind of on the end line, so that's definitely a time where you want to capitalize. And Simon Fraser, Jamie Bratsberg getting called on a double. Had a little bit of a spin. I don't know, you can't really see the replay there, but typically referees are harder on non-setters in terms of their contacts, making sure it's clean. That's a good pass from Betsy DeBeer. Tessa May blocked, and no one's quite there. Some tough luck, or potentially tough luck for Simon Fraser. I don't think they're playing as well as they were in the first set. Alaska Anchorage coming up to a lead here, 6-3 in the third set. A little low. Good block from Tessa May, recycled. Good pickup from Katerina Dolge. And Tessa May with the kill, just using the block there. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage. Number 2 is coming in for number 18, Vanessa Boyer. That's a great set. And just wide from Julia Tays. Simon Fraser's trying some things, and things just aren't really working out right now, so hopefully things piece together soon. Anchorage leading 7-4 in the first set. And Taylor Noga just missing into the net. Substitutions for Simon Fraser. Kristen Pinkney coming in for Katerina Dolge. Great block from Julia Tays. She was solo on that one. Tessa May did not close outside, but that's a great block from Julia Tays. Here's the replay. Yeah, great block from Julia Tays. I don't think she gets too many blocks, so that solo block is going to feel good. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage, number 3 coming in for number 16. Just a little wide from Kirsten Pinkney, but that was a good swing. You can tell she wanted the kill there, so she'll just have to stay aggressive. Score is 9-6 for Alaska Anchorage. Great pickup from Tamara Clark. That's a great out-of-system ball from Julia Tays. And that's a great swing from Chrislyn Johnson. Chrislyn Johnson's mixing it up quite a bit. Most of her swings have been going kind of, I'd say, in the deep corner as opposed to sharp cross. So that's a really good way to change things up. I think libero Jamie Bratsberg was probably leaning to go into that deep corner. So she wasn't able to react quick enough to switch her momentum and go the other way. So Gina Schmidt taking her first timeout of the third set as they're trailing by 4, 10-6 for Alaska Anchorage. So for upcoming home games, this Saturday, September 22nd, here in the West Gym, Simon Fraser will be playing Alaska Fairbanks Nanooks. And that is going to be at 2 p.m. So please note, normally the SFU games will be at 7, but Saturday is at 2 o'clock, and Amanda Rankema will be doing the commentary for that match. So for those of you just tuning in, Simon Fraser dominated in the first set. Alaska Anchorage dominated in the second set. And in this third set, things don't seem to be going too well for Simon Fraser. Just a lot of unforced error. There's one miscommunication play, but that's a great kill from Kirsten Pinkney to come out of a timeout with. Let's see the replay. Yeah, great kill from Kirsten Pinkney. Step around, great block from Kirsten Pinkney in Farnaz Johal. You can see the replay there. Chris Green telling his setter she needs to cover a little bit tighter. And that is a great kill from number 13, Ellen Floyd. Tamara Clark just looked a little caught off guard for that, although we have seen it a few times so far in this match, so I think Gina Schmidt will be telling defenders just to expect that a little bit more, right? So Simon Fraser needs, I think, to be a little bit more proactive on defense. Right now they just seem a little reactive to the play, and then it's too hard sometimes to get those things. Good set from Tamara Clark. That was a great block from Alaska Anchorage. I thought that actually landed wide down the line, but linesman calling it in. Let's see the replay. Yeah, I don't know. I still think that was potentially out, but I'm obviously biased. So substitution came in for Simon Fraser. Bianca Tay coming in for Tamara Clark. Again, I think just being able to add another serve receiver, switch up what the visuals look like in terms of who's passing out there. anything to kind of throw off the server for Alaska Anchorage and give front row hitter Kirsten Pinckney more time to approach and attack and get a good swing on the ball. That's a great dig from Chrislyn Johnson. Kirsten Pinckney is being very aggressive right now. She wants it. And good call from Betsy DeBeer to leave that ball. Score is 12-9 for Alaska Anchorage. And Tamara Clark came back into the game for Bianca Tay. Outside to Kirsten Pinckney, and that's blocked in the court. That's a great block from Alaska Anchorage. Kirsten Pinckney going up, swinging hard. Here's the replay. You can tell Kirsten Pinckney wants it. She's staying aggressive. She just aimed probably like a few, maybe even just 1 inch more to the outside of the court. She probably would have the tool on the block. Alaska Anchorage leading 14-9 in the third set. So I'd imagine Gina Schmidt will be trying to take her second timeout of the third set if things don't start turning around pretty soon. But good roll shot from Farnaz Johal, picked up. Great block. Back to Vanessa. And that is very unlucky for Simon Fraser, but Alaska Anchorage still continuing their streak. They're up 15-9 as Gina Schmidt takes her second and final timeout of the third set. Again, Simon Fraser, I think quite a few things are not falling the way they would want it to. We just saw Kirsten Pinckney get blocked down the line a few times. I know what she's trying to do. She scored earlier on in that deep corner shot down the line. So to try and get that shot again, I think is what she's going for. But if the block is there, she'll need to aim more outside of the court to try and tool the block versus just hitting into the block. Or again, Simon Fraser defenders could cover her, try and keep the rally going and recycle the play. So far, Alaska Anchorage, their blocking tonight has been phenomenal, and Simon Fraser hasn't really adjusted for it. They haven't been able to pick up many of the coverage balls that I think would keep them alive in this match, right? So right now, they're just swinging away, which is good, but they're not allowing the rally to continue on, right? So if they get blocked, the ball's just dropping. They're looking at it, saying, okay, let's just go get the next one, instead of really fighting to keep the current rally alive. So they're trailing by 6, 15-9, but who knows? I think some momentum shifts could still happen. It's still pretty early on in the third set. Just a lot of scramble, it looks like, going on for Simon Fraser. Freshman hitter, number 11, Tyra Anderson, coming in for number 3, Tamara Clark. So again, in this rotation, they have left side hitter, Kirsten Pinckney, swinging on the right and staying there, and they have right side hitter, Tamara Clark, staying and swinging on the left. So I think just to put in a true left side, if you may, like Tyra Anderson, or last set they put in Lauren Friedman. I think at this point Gina Schmidt just needs to try and find something that'll work, and that is a great swing from Tyra Anderson. So far, since, or I guess we'll watch this replay, but that's a good pickup from Tyra Anderson there. And then there she goes up and swings. That's a great sharp swing. So Tyra, as a freshman hitter, she's come in. She's now played in 7 sets for the season so far, and she's hitting a 176. That's honestly very good for a freshman hitter. Ideally, you want to aim anything over 200 or more is considered good. So she's come in for Simon Fraser and gotten points. Sometimes when new or maybe younger players come in, they come in a little timid, they maybe doubt themselves a little too much and don't have the confidence to swing on the ball or get kills, and then they end up making more errors. But Tyra Anderson has come in every match that I've seen, and she's gotten at least a few kills for her team. So she's done her role so far. So score is now 18-11 for Simon Fraser. Or sorry, for Alaska Anchorage. That's a good dig from Katarina Dolge. Great out-of-system ball from Jamie Bratsburg. Good pickup. A little tight for Chrislyn Johnson, but she got there. Oh, no, she's... they're going to call her over the line, I think. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage. Number 2, Talia Leone, coming in for Vanessa Boyer. And substitution for Simon Fraser. Bianca Tay coming in for Tyra Anderson. So Alaska leads 18-12 in the third set. That's a good pickup from Bianca Tay. Just a little tight. Here's the replay. I think Bianca Tay thought that was going over by more because I don't think Chrislyn Johnson actually touched the ball. So they're now leading 19-12 in the third set. Great pass from Katarina Dolge outside to Betsy DeBeer. Great pickup from Alaska Anchorage, number 2. And just long from Chrislyn Johnson. Substitution for Simon Fraser. Kirsten Pinkney coming in for Katarina Dolge. Alaska Anchorage leading 19-13 here in the third set as sets are tied 1-1. Great dig from Betsy DeBeer. And that's a great swing from Kirsten Pinkney. That's the shot she's been aiming for all match here, or for the all set here. So that's a great swing. I think she went up and over the block that time. Ball dropping in that last corner of the court. Very hard to defend. Great swing from Eve Stevens. Here's the replay. Again, she just has such a fast arm, such a good snap. You can see Jamie Bratsburg, I think, was cheating in a little bit. So typically when you're digging on the line, you always want to kind of angle your body towards the court so that the ball hits you. It has nowhere to go but into the court where all your teammates are. But from the line, if you're facing outside and the ball goes that way, no one's there to support the ball on that one. So Alaska leading 21-14 in the third set. Great pass from Betsy DeBeer. Tessa May with the tip up and over. And Alaska Anchorage just a little scrambly, so point for Simon Fraser. 21-15 for Alaska. That's a great serve from Tessa May again. Good pass from Bianca Tay. And that's a great swing for Farnaz Johal. I think that's her first kill of the match. Alaska leading 21-16. Great block from Simon Fraser. Good pass from Kirsten Pinkney. I think, right idea from Julia Tays. I think she just didn't get the right contact point on the ball. Great set. Yes, good swing from Kirsten Pinkney. That's the one she's been trying to go for. And Chris Green taking his first time out of the third set. Let's watch the replay. So great block from Simon Fraser. And then good dig from Kirsten. I think that's the dump that Julia Tays had a little bit of a missed contact on. But great dig from Bianca Tay. Perfect set from Julia Tays and great swing from Kirsten Pinkney to finish that rally. So Alaska Anchorage leading 21-17, but Simon Fraser is on a bit of a comeback here. They're gaining a little bit more momentum. It seems like for the first time in this set. Again, if you're just tuning in, Simon Fraser took the first set by quite a bit, and then they did a role reversal. Alaska Anchorage came in and took the second set by quite a bit. So now this third set is a bit of a battle, but Simon Fraser started off a little shaky in this set, but I think they're finding their groove again. They've been trying out some different players in on the court versus Alaska Anchorage is keeping tight to their starting lineup right now. With they have very strong defensive specialists coming in as well. So Simon Fraser will look to gain some momentum, potentially push out this third set, and then carry on from there. So Tessime serving as Alaska leads 21-17. Chrislyn Johnson with with the kill. Tessime almost had the dig, just landing out of bounds on the far side. So point for Alaska Anchorage. Substitution coming in. Vanessa Boyer back in for the front row as they are now leading 22-17. And just wide serve from Chrislyn Johnson. And Tyra Anderson going in for Bianca Tay. I think Gina Schmidt was hoping Tamara Clark would come in because now Tyra has to play on the right. Yeah, substitution will be Tamara Clark. Oh. And yeah, delay of game warning. So delay of game because Tamara Clark ran up there, ran in front of the attack line. That initiates the substitution call. Then it looks like Gina didn't want the substitution to happen. Maybe she's running low on subs. And so she called it off. But at that point, because Tamara Clark was already in front of the attack line, they have no choice but to give SFU a delay of game, yellow card. Again, yellow cards don't really mean anything, but again, just a warning. Great block from Simon Fraser. And yeah, Vanessa Boyer is just going in very early. She seems to be going in very early, and she doesn't exactly, I think, know where the ball's going to go. So she's going in inside, like into the court a little bit too much and a little bit too soon. So the ball's trying to go by her. So that's why she's not able to actually make the contact play over, because she's pretty much lost all of her momentum and all of her balance. Great dig from Chrislyn Johnson. Oh. Simon Fraser calling number 10, Farnaz Johal on the net, but they also had some miscommunication between Katarina Dolge and Jamie Bratsburg. The ball actually just dropped, which is very unlikely for a libero and a defensive specialist for that to happen, but here is set point for Alaska Anchorage, 24-19 in the third set. And that is set point, or set for Alaska Anchorage, 25-19. So we're going to cut over to the men's soccer game happening at Simon Fraser University right now, but stay with us, we'll be back. Welcome back to SFU Volleyball on Clan TV. We were just watching the SFU men's soccer game that's happening live right now on outside on Terry Fox Field. If you want to keep watching, you can watch at athletics.sfu.ca/msoclive. So just to recap, Simon Fraser came out dominating that first set against Alaska Anchorage, taking it 25-13. And then Alaska Anchorage has, I'd say, quite noticeably taken the second and third set, 25-17 and 25-19. So Simon Fraser, they're in a bit of a do-or-die set here for the fourth set. But a mix of different things. Earlier on in the match, I think Simon Fraser was having a difficult time covering their own hitters and recycling the play and keeping the rally going. Towards the end, there seemed to be a little bit of miscommunication going on. So Simon Fraser will look to settle things down and continue making smart plays on the ball, whereas Alaska Anchorage, they're playing fairly well right now, but I still think both teams have a little bit more to give. So that's a good serve from Julia Tays to start off the fourth set. Tight pass. That's a really good save from Alaska Anchorage setter. And out of bounds, point for Simon Fraser as they lead 2-0. That's a good pickup from Jamie Bratsberg. Behind to Betsy DeBeer. Simon Fraser keeping the rally alive. And great kill from Eve Stevens. Again, I don't have the statistics on me, but I think Eve Stevens is probably the top hitter right now for Alaska Anchorage. So Simon Fraser will need to find a way to slow her down at least. But I did forget to mention there were some lineup changes for Simon Fraser. It looks like they have moved Betsy DeBeer to play on the right side, although right now just the rotation that they're in, she's on the left. Kirsten Pinkney is on the left, so it'll be interesting to see who the second left side is for Simon Fraser. And yeah, it'll be Tyra Anderson coming in for Bianca Tay to play in the front row, and Katarina Dolgate going to serve for Kirsten Pinkney. But lineup looks the same for Alaska Anchorage. That's a great pass. Good block touch from Tyra Anderson. A little tight, and great job from Tyra Anderson to find a way to put that over. Great block from Tyra. Behind to Betsy DeBeer, and just swinging wide. So scores 3-2 for Simon Fraser. And that's a great serve from Taylor Noga. Scores tied up at 3-3. So again, if you notice, Taylor Noga, she's standing pretty far back. She's standing pretty much at the basketball end line to serve. And again, for Simon Fraser, no one on Simon Fraser actually serves from that far back. So it's a very different way of seeing the ball when it's coming over to you as a passer. So just having that variety in terms of serving from player to player on that team, it's a serve that Simon Fraser just, I'd say, they don't practice with as often. So it's definitely a different feel, because the ball will come higher and then the ball will drop actually. So it's very hard to read about when it's going in or when it's going out of bounds. Great dig from Katarina Dolgay. Good block touch, good pickup from Julia Tays. Good block coverage from Katarina Dolgay. A little low. Simon Fraser was looking for some touches on that. I'm not too sure if I saw any. But right idea from Tyra Anderson. It was a low set, not much she could have done there. Scores tied up at 4-4. Great dig from Taylor Noga. Outside to Chrislyn Johnson. That's a great swing from Chrislyn Johnson. Sharp cross. She took a little bit off of it. Definitely not a shot we've seen her hit so far. It did land quite far inside in relation to the attack line. That's a good pass from Betsy DeBeer to Tessa May. Great dig. And great swing from Tyra Anderson. Scores tied up at 5-5. Let's see the replay. So on that one, Chrislyn Johnson didn't really have time to transition, so that tip ball was all she had, and that's a very smart play from Tyra Anderson. Simon Fraser leading 6-5 in the fourth set. Great serve from Betsy DeBeer. Outside to Chrislyn Johnson, just long. Score is 7-5 for Simon Fraser now. Good pass from Taylor Noga. Good dig from Katarina Dolge. Great spot from Tessa May. Blocked, out of bounds. Point for Simon Fraser. Scores 8-5 for Simon Fraser. Alaska Anchorage looking a little, I don't know what the right word to say is, a little shaken up right now. And Alaska Anchorage being called on a double. Chris Green is not happy about it. I'd say there's been a few calls that I think they've gone both ways. There's been some bad calls for Alaska. There's been some bad calls for Simon Fraser. So Chris Green will be taking his first timeout as they trail by 4 in this fourth set. Simon Fraser leading 9-5. So still lots of game left in this fourth set, but Alaska Anchorage was looking a little shaky there for the last few points. So there on your screen you see next home game for Simon Fraser is Saturday, September 22nd. Please note that the game is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Normally the games happen at 7, but I believe Alaska Fairbanks will be looking to catch a flight home Saturday night versus having to wait a whole day. So September 22nd at 2 p.m. Here in West Gym for Simon Fraser's next home game. So Betsy DeBeer serving for Simon Fraser as they lead 9-5 in the fourth set. Great pass, step around behind, tip over. Good pickup from Tessa May to Tyra Anderson. Great swing, good pickup from Taylor Noga. Alaska sending a free ball over. Good pass, Tessa May on the step around. Great tip over. That's a great strategic play from Tessa May. Score is now 10-5 for Simon Fraser. Great serve from Betsy DeBeer, but that's also a great pass. Chrislyn Johnson, that's a great swing from her cross court. Jamie Bradsburg almost had that one. Her and Tyra Anderson looked awfully close there, so I think Jamie Bradsburg just not having enough space to kind of do her thing. Let's see. Yeah, you can see they're pretty much standing right beside each other, so that's something they're going to need to clear up, but that's also a really good swing from Chrislyn Johnson. So score is now 10-6 for Simon Fraser. Good dig from Chrislyn Johnson, outside. Good pickup from Betsy DeBeer, outside to Tyra. Great swing down the line from Tyra Anderson. Such a good swing for a freshman hitter for Simon Fraser. Again, as I mentioned, here we'll see the replay. She's done such a good job of coming in situations where Simon Fraser hasn't necessarily been up by a lot of points. They've actually, I think they've used her in more of the situations where they've been down and need to switch things up. And she's come in and she's done a great job of staying aggressive, having a great swing, making smart plays, and trying to actually help her team out and turn things around and gain some momentum. So Simon Fraser leading 11-7 here in the fourth set. Tessa May on the step around with a kill. That is a great swing. Alaska Anchorage almost had that block. I think they were just a little early even to go up there. So Simon Fraser leading 12-7 in the fourth set. Outside to Vanessa Boyer. Great dig from Tessa May. Nicole Chevrier blocked. Good cover ball from Kirsten Pinkney. Good dig from Betsy DeBeer, outside to Kirsten Pinkney. And that's a kill for Kirsten Pinkney. They're now leading 13-7 for Simon Fraser. I think Chris Green will most likely be using a timeout pretty soon. It would be his second and final one of the set. But Simon Fraser is doing a good job of pushing on. Great block touch from great dig from Bianca Tay. But that's a great kill from number 14, Vera Pluhazova. Substitution for Alaska Anchorage, Eve Stevens coming back into the match front row. Again, she's probably their most effective hitter right now, or so far in the match. So that's something that they'll try and push through to catch up here as Simon Fraser leads 13-8 in the fourth set. Outside to Kirsten Pinkney, that's a great swing. As Simon Fraser now leads 14-8 in the fourth set. Here's the replay. It's a great swing. Good pass from Chrislyn Johnson. On the X ball, great dig from Jamie Bratsburg. Great dig again, a little tight. And great save from Julia Tays. Good kill from Nicole Chevrier. Chris Green is not looking too happy. I think he would have tried to call Julia Tays on a double, or not double, sorry, that was one-handed, but maybe a lift. But those were two great digs from Jamie Bratsburg. First one, she wasn't able to control too much, but that was a huge swing. There's some confusion there that I was a little stunned about from Simon Fraser, but they were still able to get the kill. Chris Green taking his second time out of the fourth set, so he has 0 timeouts remaining as Simon Fraser leads 16-8 in the fourth set. So Simon Fraser is playing very well. They did a bit of a lineup switch coming into this fourth set. So previously they had left sides Kirsten Pinkney and Betsy DeBeer with Tamara Clark on the right. Now they have moved Betsy DeBeer over to the right side, and on the left side they have Kirsten Pinkney and Tyra Anderson. And I have nothing but good things to say about Tyra so far. Every time she's come onto the court, she's gotten kills for Simon Fraser. Even in this match as well, she's been getting some good block touches. So really helping the team out. And I think the team's really changing when she's on the court to support the freshman hitter. So Simon Fraser out again, 16-8, out to an early lead, that is. Alaska Anchorage, they need to shut down some of Simon Fraser hitters, and they also just need to clean things up on their end. They're making quite a few mistakes themselves, so just giving Simon Fraser a few extra points here and there, it can go a long way. So in this set, I think there's still lots of time for Alaska Anchorage to come back, but I think they're in a good rotation. They have number 14, Vera, who's been effective on the step arounds, although they are in a back row setter rotation right now, but Eve Stevens has been lights out for them all match. And there we go, Vera on the step around with the kill. So Vanessa Boyer serving for Alaska Anchorage as the score is now 16-9 for Simon Fraser. And that's a great serve from Vanessa Boyer. Good pass from Betsy DeBeer. Back to her outside. Great block touch from Alaska Anchorage. Eve Stevens, that's a little chaotic for Simon Fraser. Great block from Simon Fraser. And that is a great block for Alaska Anchorage. So Alaska coming back here, 16-11. I think Gina Schmidt, she has both her timeouts. She'll probably take one pretty soon, unless we can get some, or unless Simon Fraser can get some momentum back. Kirsten Pinkney, that's a great touch from Vanessa Boyer. Good up from Kirsten Pinkney, outside to Betsy DeBeer, and just wide. I think all of SFU seeing that ball in the court. Let's see the replay. And I don't know if we really saw that, or at least it was too quick for me, although I thought it kind of looked out. So who knows? Scores 16-12 for, now 16-13 for Alaska Anchorage. So Gina Schmidt using her first time out of the fourth set here. In terms of sets, Alaska Anchorage is leading 2-1, so this is a do-or-die set for Simon Fraser. They had a sizable lead. It was 16-8 at the last timeout that Chris Green took, and then Alaska Anchorage has now gone on to make a 5-0 run for the score to now be 16-13, but as we've seen, the last few points, I'd say, have mostly been Simon Fraser's unforced errors, not necessarily Alaska Anchorage earning their points. I guess they have gotten a few kills, but I think there's a lot more that Simon Fraser can be doing on their end to clean the rallies up. So we'll see what they have coming out of this. Simon Fraser is in a good rotation. I think they have 3 front row hitters right now, so lots of options. The hitters just need to find a way to find the court, get some kills, and then get the serve back, and then push for points, right? So in theory, if from here on out they just kept going point for point with Alaska Anchorage, they'd still have the match. So they're still in a good place, but still lots of game to be played. Good pass from Bianca Tay. Great block from Alaska Anchorage to Betsy again. Good block touch. Good pickup from Chrislyn Johnson to Eve Steven on the right. That is a great kill from Eve. That is a tight ball. Simon Fraser's block, I think, should have had that one. Typically, if the ball is tight, blockers really need to go after the ball. Otherwise, hitters can hit that ball straight down. So that's a great lead from Betsy DeBeer. Alaska Anchorage had a great push there. They went on a 6-0 run. So Simon Fraser finally getting the chance to serve again and push for points. I'm not too sure what the delay is right now. Chris Green doesn't look happy, whatever he was trying to say. But substitutions for Simon Fraser. Katharina Dolgate coming in to serve for Kirsten Pinkney, and Tyra Anderson came in front row for Kirsten Pinkney. Or sorry, front row for Bianca Tay. Eve with another kill on the right side. Simon Fraser really needs to shut her down. Scores 17-15 for Simon Fraser in the fourth set. Good pass from Jamie Bratsburg. Behind to Betsy DeBeer. And she is blocked. So Betsy, when you're tipping, you just got to make sure it goes up and over the block. Just a little too, or I guess a little too short on that one. Needs to go a little bit further over the blocker. Especially someone like Chrislyn Johnson, who has a great vertical jump and has some good hang time to stay in the air and get that ball. That's a great kill from Nicole Chevrier, aiming for those deep corners on a 51. Very hard to defend. Let's see the replay. Yeah, with middles, it's hard because they can hit the ball straight down pretty much because they have such a nice high angle, or they can aim deep, which can also be hard to defend. So there we go. Great kill from Alaska Anchorage as well on a 51. Score is 18-17 for Simon Fraser. So Alaska Anchorage having a pretty big comeback, I would say. They definitely have the momentum on their side. So Simon Fraser needs to push for points here, although senior middle blocker Tessa May is back in the match. She's a pretty big offensive threat for Simon Fraser. So that's a great kill from Chrislyn Johnson. That looks like the perfect set for her. Both her and Vanessa Boyer have had a few, I'd say, kind of misconnections for the outside swing. So you can't really call it a misconnection if you're an outside hitter, but it just looks like things haven't been perfectly where their sweet spot would be. So that last one Chrislyn Johnson had, though, looks to be her sweet spot. So Simon Fraser leading 19-18 in the fourth set as Betsy DeBeer serves for them. Good up from Jamie Bratsburg. And Tyra Anderson going for the kill. Right idea. It just blocked and no coverage there. So I understand what Julia Taze is doing. I think in most situations right now, people will lean towards Tessa May in terms of who to block. So I understand going to Tyra Anderson, but at this point, potentially Tessa May is a huge offensive threat. Get her back in the game, get her going, get her invested. At this point in the match, you need to be going to your go-to hitters. So Alaska Anchorage taking the lead here in the fourth set for the first time probably since the very beginning, if they were even up at all in the beginning. But Alaska Anchorage taking the lead 20-19. And point for Alaska Anchorage. Gina Schmidt taking her second and final timeout of the fourth set. Alaska Anchorage has had a huge comeback here, 21-19 for them now in the fourth set after being down, I think it was 16-8. So essentially they've gone on a 13-3 run so far in the fourth set to finish it off so far. So Simon Fraser needs to shut them down. They're not in the most ideal situation for Simon Fraser. They have Julia Taze in the front row with senior middle blocker Tessa May and then freshman outside hitter Tyra Anderson, who again has always done a very phenomenal job coming in, but this will be, I think, her first time in a varsity match playing at this kind of point in the game. So we'll see how they handle it. I know Julia Taze probably would find comfort in setting Tessa May, but again, that's very predictable for Alaska Anchorage to read because I think that's what they would expect at this point as well. So Simon Fraser just giving up a few too many points right now, a few too many unforced errors. To have a team come on a 13-3 run in the fourth set when it's a do-or-die match for you, we'll see. They'll need to push through this one to push into a fifth. nothing Tyra Anderson could have done on that one. Julia Tays just got a miss off the net in those situations. I would imagine Gina Schmidt might try and make a substitution since she's all out of timeout. She needs to slow the game down. Simon Fraser cannot let this slip away. Good pass from Betsy DeBeer. Tessa May on the step around. Great swing. That's some momentum they need. Double substitutions coming in for Simon Fraser. Kristen Pinckney back in the front row. And Bianca Tay serving for Tyra Anderson. There's the replay. Scores 22-20 for Alaska Anchorage. That's a great kill from Vanessa Boyer. That's exactly what Alaska needs. They now lead 23-20 in the fourth set. Good pass from Kristen Pinckney out to her. That's a good dig, a little tight, but great set out of it. And for the match point here, Alaska Anchorage serving at 24-20. The last, I'd say, 15 points have gone by way too fast for Simon Fraser. Oh, that is very unlucky for Alaska Anchorage. All right, or very lucky for Simon Fraser. Score is now 24-21 for Alaska Anchorage. Substitution for Simon Fraser. Tamara Clark coming in to serve for Tessa May. That's a good serve for Tamara Clark. Great dig from Bianca Tay. A little tight. And that will be the match for Alaska Anchorage, taking it 3-1. Final fourth set score being 25-21. Alaska Anchorage showing lots of grit, having a huge comeback, coming down from being down by 8 points, I think 16-8. So that's it for tonight's game. Come back on Saturday, September 22nd. The game is at 2 p.m. against Alaska Nanooks. On behalf of our entire Clan TV crew here in the West Gym, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again soon.